Herika version 1.0 is now available for download. It includes a few major features, one of them being offline LLMs, meaning that you can now run the mod entirely offline. Here's an example of that in action. Hey Herika, how are you doing?
Good morning, RANGROO.
Good morning to you as well.
So, what brings you here at this time of the day? Any interesting adventures or just enjoying the fresh air?
Honestly, just enjoying nature and the fresh air. I mean, I really do like the sound of running water.
Relaxation can be found even in unexpected places sometimes. Just try not to get too comfortable though. It might start getting chilly soon enough.
Now, there is a pretty big caveat to all of this, is that all of these offline AI services to replace the online AI services we've been using use up a lot of processing power. Unless you have a high-powered gaming rig or an external server which you can connect to, you're going to be maxing out your computer load quite a bit. Fortunately with the mod, you can mix and match which services you want to run offline and which services you want to run online, so you can find a good balance between your hardware usage on your local computer compared to costs of using an online service. And so we're going to spend some time talking about the different offline services available and just how they work. The first option is an offline version of OpenAI's Whisper. This is actually a pretty good service. There's two models we have available, a large one and a medium one. The large one uses up a lot of computer resources, but is pretty comparable to the OpenAI online service of Whisper, and the medium model is not as good quality, but it's still good enough if you do speak clearly. This was created from one of our contributors, Albios, and is an add-on for the DwemerDistro which you can download for the mod page. It does require DwemerDistro to run, however. For the offline AI generation, we're using a program called KoboldCPP. This allows you to very easily run offline LLMs, learning language models, on your computer with not a whole lot of setup. Now, there's a variety of free LLMs one can use. We're using Hugging Face to source our LLMs. The one we're mainly testing a lot on is Mythomax 13B. The B stands for parameters, so 13 billion parameters. Basically, the more parameters a model has, the more smarter, powerful it is, but it also uses up much more computer resources. Once again, I would not recommend using an offline LLM unless you have a pretty powerful computer or a second computer to actually offload the computer resources, because with Skyrim running, especially heavily modded Skyrim, you will be maxing out your computer quite a bit. Also, just take note that the actions feature for Herika won't work with an offline LLM. It's something we'll just have to fix in the future. And also, it's still rather experimental in regards to which are the best LLMs to use. If you're going to be using offline LLMs, expect to have to do a bit of experimentation on your own to find the best local model for your computer setup. Why the heck would you want to go through the trouble of setting up an offline LLM, especially if you need such a powerful rig to begin with? Well, there's two main advantages. The first one, an obvious one, being it's free. You don't have to pay for an online service to use the AI generation. And the second part, and honestly a little bit more interesting, is there's no safety restrictions on offline LLMs compared to ChatGPT. There's been a lot of controversy of all the safety guards which have been put into ChatGPT over the past couple months. We're not getting into that, but basically with offline LLMs, there's none of that. You can talk to it about explicit content and it will respond back, and you won't get banned. By explicit content, of course, let's be real, it's not just sexual content it's good at talking about. It's also just better roleplay in general, because it's a little bit more open to some more questionable ideas, which is useful in a roleplay scenario. We're not trying to imitate real life here. Because of this, we've actually made the AI model a hotkey in-game, so you can very easily switch between OpenAI if you want a more smarter and powerful AI model, and if you need to talk about explicit content, you can switch Herika over to an offline model. And finally, for the text-to-speech, we have Mimic 3. There's nothing really new here to talk about. We've had Mimic 3 implemented in the mod for quite a while, and it's pretty good considering it's completely free, and it doesn't even use that much computer resources. Also in this update, we've implemented a vector database for memory. This gives Herika a bit more of a natural memory model compared to the old diary module. Explaining very briefly how a vector database works, an old school database works in a 2D fashion. It's like an Excel spreadsheet with rows, cells, and tables. A vector database saves all the information in a pseudo 3D space. If you look at images online, it's like this 3D plot graph. Basically, each piece of information is saved in a point in this 3D space. When you search for information, you're not searching for an exact match of what you're searching for, but the closest approximation to it. Vector databases are very popular with a lot of AI generation tools right now to solve the memory issue, and so we're going to be using vector databases. The ChromaDB database only will work with DwemerDistro. Currently, the vector database memories are limited to only direct conversations which you have with Herika, so please keep that in mind. Also, a diary function will still work just the same. It's separate to the vector database memory, so you can use both in conjunction, because the diary is also pretty good not just as a memory tool, but as a log of your Skyrim adventures. Anyway, here's an example of the memory function actually working. Hey Herika, what's the code to my luggage again?
Oh, let me guess. It's your birthday again? Just kidding. The code is 0451, just as unforgettable as your fear of snowmen.
Could you please stop bringing up the whole snowman thing? That was like a one-time incident.
I'll stop mentioning it when it stops being funny, which is likely never. But sure, for you, I'll bury the snowman joke under a pile of snow.
God damn it. Our contributor Albios has also implemented a token cost tracking tool. This basically allows you to keep track of how much money you spent using the ChatGPT OpenAI API. And also we've implemented a summon Herika spell. This can be found on her person. And it's a very simple low conjuration spell, really no magicka required, which allows you to summon Herika back to your position in case you lose her for whatever reason. You might have noticed as well is that the Webserver has gotten a little bit of a facelift.